Well, we haven't even hit the 2021 mayoral election, but candidates are already lining up for New York's 2022 gubernatorial race, spurred on by several scandals enveloping Governor Cuomo, including allegations of sexual harassment and misleading COVID nursing home death data. Republican Congressman Zeldin says he is going to run for governor. He's joining us this morning. Nice to have you on Good Day New York, Congressman.
Great to be with you. Good morning.
So what's the reaction? You announced yesterday you want to be governor of New York State. What kind of reaction did you get?
Oh, yesterday was amazing. And I'm here to announce this morning that yesterday we raised over $1 million on day one of the campaign. We launched about 24 hours ago our website at zeldinfornewyork.com. People from all walks of life, all throughout New York, they're upset about the direction of the state. They're talking about their breaking point. They're talking about how family members have already left. The taxes, we just saw another tax hike this week out of Albany. New York now has the highest income tax rate in the entire country. People complaining about public safety, rising crime, cashless bail, kids not yet fully back in school in places, or maybe their favorite restaurant isn't yet open. So there's a lot of frustrations. We have right now one party Democrat rule in New York City, Albany, and D.C., and people want to see a political balance. They also want to see a geographic balance because every New Yorker deserves a voice.
So, you know, you're going to have an uphill battle. You know that. A Republican has not won New York State in about 20 years. How are you going to overcome that?
You know, when I was just talking about the issues of the feedback that I received yesterday, it's not a red on blue discussion. This isn't a Democrat or Republican emotion. People are passionate, emotional about the direction of the state. And it's from conservatives and liberals, Republicans and Democrats from all different parts of the state. They don't want to see attacks on wallets, safety, and freedoms. They want to see New York restored to its former glory. So if we continue to talk about the issues that matter most to New Yorkers from day one of this campaign straight through November 2022, there's a lot of support from people who they may not be Republican, they might be more independent. There are some Democrats who will speak up. They don't like the rising violence in their neighborhood or not supporting law enforcement enough.
Do you think, though, your support of President Trump will hurt you?
I'm focusing on the issues that matter most to New Yorkers, and that's what is key for that voter. Think about the undecided voter fall of 2022. And there, you show up at a front door. You say, what's your top 3 issues, 5, 10? What's your top 20 issues? And when you're focused on the economy and jobs, cost of living, I'm talking about quality of life and the quality of education for their kids. Those are the bread and butter issues that matter most. If you want to talk about saving our state, that right there is how you get to the heart of how to win over that undecided voter and get over the top. That's the key towards winning.
So what's your relationship with Governor Cuomo right now? As you know, this big budget was passed just a few days ago. Usually the governor would kind of hold off major taxes. Do you think that he was in a bad position and that's why we have all these taxes coming our way?
Oh, you're so right. He is in this weakened position because you have so many members of the Assembly and Senate who are calling for resignations, calling for impeachment. There's supposedly in the Senate and the Assembly an impeachment investigation that's going. He's clearly weakened. His poll numbers continue to get worse. I feel that simply the fatal nursing home order and cover-up was enough where Governor Cuomo should resign.
So
but then you had all,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, finish. And then you add.
Yeah, I was going to say, and then you had all these other allegations of abuse that followed. And we most recently had heard about this COVID-19 testing preferential treatment for family members at private residence done by state health department officials. And then the samples were moved to the front of the line at the state laboratory. So the abuse, the harassment, the intimidation, it's all piled up. To answer your question, I think that when you get to the end of the budget process, resulted in a much weakened governor who ends up signing off on the largest income tax rate now in the entire country.
Well, I know you said you raised $1 million in a day. It sounds like a lot of money. But we're also hearing that the governor's war chest is pretty sizable and that he's still considering making another run.
And that's why we are focused on running not only against Governor Cuomo or the policies coming out of Albany, we're talking about both. Because Governor Cuomo says that he's not going anywhere. There was a point a couple weeks ago where there was a whole lot of New Yorkers thought maybe he was going to resign within hours, but he says he's not going anywhere. There's multiple investigations going on by different levels of government. From the prosecution standpoint, you have the investigation we just referenced in the state legislature and all of those calls from many within his own party for him to resign. And if he wants to try to miracle himself onto the November 2022 Democratic Party ballot, then we'll just have to be running against Governor Cuomo straight through the finish line. If at some point he either resigns or he's not our opponent for the fall of 2022, then we'll see who our opponent is and we'll engage on those issues that matter.
Congressman and Republican candidate for governor Lee Zeldin, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.